Yo, what's going on, everybody? I just got done recording my Brockhampton TM album reaction and review. That'll be up on the channel tomorrow. I already have the family video up, and yeah, I'll just start editing the TM video tomorrow, so that'll be lit. But anyways, I might do that later tonight, actually. I'm not sure, but we have Better Call Saul. The music stuff's not the point. We're moving on to like the TV, aspect of the day. We're talking about Better Call Saul. We're on the 6th episode of season 6. We are really closing out this series, and we're trying to kind of cover some loose ends in this series. So with that, let's get through the plot and the critical reception, because I have a class in 13 minutes. Either that or I'm probably going to walk to lunch, because I don't even know if I'll have a video lecture. But in the opening, in a flashback to 1980s, Kim Wexler's mother expresses outrage after Kim is caught shoplifting jewelry. So, like, another flashback from Kim as a kid. She was a shoplifter, apparently, or at first glance, at first glance, at least. It seems like she's, like, the evil one here, like the monster that tried to steal something from a shop. After the store manager allows them to leave, Kim's mother shows her pride and reveals that she stole the necklace and earrings Kim tried to take. So, yeah, she's like, I got them for you anyway. Her mother was kind of, I don't know, kind of an interesting figure. I mean, I don't think we really learned that much about her. I think it'd be cool if we got like a Kim Wexler spinoff. I mean, I know this show has kind of done 3 spinoffs already, or 2 spinoffs technically. I mean, obviously the original series, we had an El Camino where it was like that's not really a spinoff. I guess that's in the Succession. So they've done 1 spinoff, which is kind of like a prequel. I don't know. It's interesting. But getting to the main story, in a strained conversation with his wife, Cheryl. We don't really get to meet Howard Hamlin's wife that much in this series, but there she is, Cheryl, right in front of the screen, right? So Howard Hamlin says he is attempting to solve Jimmy McGill's harassment campaign. So he's like, I got to get to the bottom of this. I got to figure out, why this guy is doing this. Obviously, he knows why he's doing this to him. I don't know why the hell I even said that, but, he's trying to prove that Jimmy's actually like harassing him, because he doesn't really have proof yet that Jimmy's like coming at him in these ways and stuff like that. Pause. But Howard Hamlin says Howard's investigator reports that the only variation to Jimmy and Kim's regular routine was Jimmy's recent $20,000 cash withdrawal, which is kind of like a big deal. It's like a hitch in his schedule, like he's like changing up how he does things and whatnot. So that is kind of like an interesting thing. I mean, I don't know. It could point to something. I'm not sure, but we'll have to see. Kind of if Howard ever ends up cracking down on Jimmy. Again, given that like Lalo, Howard, Kim, a bunch of other pretty decently big characters aren't involved in Breaking Bad but are involved in Better Call Saul, leads me to think that something crazy is going to happen, obviously, before Breaking Bad gets introduced. I think there's still like 6 or 7 episodes until we get that introduction. And again, like I said, I'm going to be going back and rewatching Breaking Bad. So, yeah. Jimmy and Kim visit Dr. Caldera's veterinary clinic, where they test a drug intended for use in their scheme against Howard. It pumps caffeine in you. It's probably going to make Howard do some stupid stuff once he's like hyperactive off those drugs. And stuff like that. And obviously we know Dr. Caldera isn't any ordinary veterinarian. He hasn't really been in the series for a while, but he returns, and that's really cool. He has a pretty cool part. Plays a pretty decently big role in this series at times. But Caldera explains his plan to quit as the middleman for Albuquerque's criminals and shows them his encrypted black book of underworld contacts. So this guy just has connections out the freaking wazoo. Like, this guy can call this guy to get him hit, call this guy to do a deal. He has guys he can rely on to do anything. So that's, being a vet doesn't make a lot of money, but when you're a guy like this and he has like a side hustle, he probably has a lot of money, and it probably looks fishy when a veterinarian walks outside of a mansion. I'm not sure about it, but you can't really assume things. Tyrus Kit confronts Mike Ermintrout about how Mike is employing his security teams during the hunt for Lalo. Like, they're not widespread enough, they're not covering enough areas. Like, Gus is starting to question it. Like, we need to catch Lalo, and we're not going to catch Lalo with how you're doing things. Mike refuses to divert the men watching his family. He's like, no, I employed them. I can have a say. They can watch over my family. I don't want my granddaughter or my daughter to die on my hands, or daughter-in-law, I think, yeah. In Germany, the label from the Lucite sculpture he observed at Margarete Ziegler's home leads Lalo Salamanca to Casper's house, and they kind of have like this brief confrontation. It's kind of insane. So Casper strikes Lalo with the blunt side of his axe, like hits him in the gut. He kind of like knocks the wind out of him for a second. When he gets back up, but Lalo uses a razor blade to slash Casper's face, then severs Casper's foot with the axe. So this is pretty brutal. I don't think we've really seen that much brutality in Better Call Saul. There's definitely some brutality in Breaking Bad, but Better Call Saul, I don't know. This was pretty gruesome. I don't know. Lalo gives Casper his belt for a tourniquet, then interrogates him about his work with Werner Ziegler, so that's kind of where that storyline's left off. We'll see what Lalo can kind of get out of Casper, because he worked with Werner, you know? So, Clifford Maine invites Kim to a Santa Fe luncheon to meet representatives of a foundation that funds programs similar to her pro bono work. So this is like a pretty big opportunity for Kim, and it would be a pretty big opportunity for any average lawyer. So, yeah, there's that. Kim is worried that the meeting is scheduled for D-Day, the day they execute their plan against Howard, but Jimmy assures her... Oh, wait, no, sorry. Yeah. Kim is worried that the meeting is scheduled for D-Day, the day they execute their plan against Howard, but Jimmy assures her she does not need to be present for it to work. Jimmy's got it handled. I mean, he's done a lot of cons before, so she doesn't really need to be involved in any of it. And he probably doesn't even want her to be that involved. So, sorry. Jimmy works with his film crew to photograph an actor made up to resemble Sandpiper case mediator Rand Casimiro. He's like the main judge of it all. So, yeah. Francesca Liddy calls Hamlin and McGill, and poses as the family member of a Sandpiper plaintiff to obtain conference call details for the upcoming mediation session. So Jimmy's trying to get her to go behind the scenes. And by the way, Francesca decided to work with Jimmy again. She took the deal. They're doing stuff. It's pretty cool. On D-Day, Jimmy intends to purchase a bottle of Zafiro Añejo tequila, but is surprised to see Casimiro actually at the liquor store. So he's getting a closer look at him, and Casimiro's arm is in a cast, something not depicted in the fake photograph. So this is not going to go well, and it's not going to look good for them. So obviously he throws a fucking fit. Jimmy calls Kim to suggest aborting the plan and regrouping after her Santa Fe meeting. She insists their plan be executed that day, turns her car around, and heads back to Albuquerque. She's like, dude, it's a freaking luncheon. Who cares? I need to go back and change these plans so my fucking name isn't tainted after this. Holy shit. I mean, that's a lot more important. It's actually a lot of critical response to this. I mean, this is a pretty decent episode. We're pretty far into the series, so... Rotten Tomatoes, 100% positive reviews, 8.3 out of 10, 6 reviews. I mean... I think this episode, season 6 came out this year, I'm pretty sure, so, the episode's cold opening was kind of like the opening scene of the 5th season episode, Wexler versus Goodman, which also included a flashback to Kim's past. Huge, it's hugely informative to who Kim is now. You can kind of take the pieces, put them together from that episode and be like, oh, that's why she does this, Seahorn's performance was great, the cinematography, the final scene where Kim decided to turn to Albuquerque, those were all really cool scenes and moments in this show. The episode's slow pace was cool. Viewers should be rewarded for their patience with future episodes, so that's kind of what they're getting at here, I think, with the slow episodes. Esposito's direction was great. Levine's screenplay, the production design of Howard's Kitchen, those all looked aesthetically pleasing. It's not really a big deal, but yeah, a B+ for IndieWire, A- on AV Club. Kim's development in the episode was kind of like Walter White's development throughout Breaking Bad. Were they always destined to be immortal characters even before Breaking Bad? I mean, perhaps that question, considering the nuance Saul has spun for her, can be applied to Kim, who just wants to do good, but is willing to do some not-so-good things to achieve that end. It is kind of a cool parallel they draw here. The use of Duran Duran song, the reflex during the opening scene, that was cool, I guess. The episode is another carefully plotted episode ahead of the next half-season finale, so that should be a really good episode. I mean, The Walking Dead does it all the time with their half-season finales, so I'm assuming that wrong series. I'm looking at the fucking action figures on my wall. Better Call Saul's. Yeah. Patrick Fabian's performance as Howard was great. The final scene was great. Seeing Kim choose the con over her pro bono dream is a watershed moment in the series. The pacing was great. If this was any other show, the audience would guess you'd start to get weary, or I would guess the audience would start to get weary. Sorry. But as it stands, this is more about impatience for what's to come rather than any perceived slowness. That's kind of how everyone's seeing this episode. This episode may not have provided any kind of closure, but it at least brought us closer to understanding the contours of Kim and Jimmy's plan. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you check out the Brockhampton video I just posted. I'll have another Brockhampton album review. Yes, they dropped 2 albums this week, dropping tomorrow. Later tonight, we'll have once the Celtics game starts, we're going to have a New Music Friday stream, listening to all the new music, trying to get it through as much as I can. NBA recap, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, I gotta go. I have class here in like 3 minutes, but I was happy to get this video out to you guys so you guys could have it for the day. I'm out.